What changes now, Joe, running the team this week?
Obviously, he just got here a few weeks ago. We're leaning on his experiences, within obviously the time he's been here, but also the experience he's had with this type of system. Coob, it's evolved since Coob, not good or bad, just it's evolved obviously, and then his time with Rich Kangaroo. So he's plucking back to that as we're teaching the offense and stuff like that. And, just kind of going with where the word changes and all that. But, he's played so much ball. The coolest part about him is when he steps out on the field, he's seen it all, So just little tweaks and stuff to the offense and with cadences and all that kind of stuff are what he's, getting used to. But it's cool, Joe. He's been there before, and so we expect some good stuff from him.
Isn't there maybe a rust acclimation period, because he hasn't started a games in a year,
right?
Basically, so isn't there going to be a transition for him?
There could be, but Mike hadn't started a game either, and Josh, came in. Obviously, he didn't start versus Indianapolis, and when he went in there, obviously didn't have a touchdown drive right away, but went down the field on that second drive. So obviously there could be that. That's kind of unknown. I wouldn't expect it. I think he's very confident when he steps on the field. It's like a second home for him. So I would think he's going to be pretty comfortable when he gets out there.
Does the play calling change at all, or can he do the same stuff? And does he know all the plays, or do you have to maybe change something?
Yeah, not to go too far into specifics for obvious reasons, but I wouldn't say it changes drastically. We're going to run the same amount of offense. It's not like we scaled back by any means. He's been a part of systems where I know they've carried a lot of volume going into a game. So no, I'd say we're going to run what we think is going to help our guys be successful against this opponent. And so the play calling might be different, but I think it's going to have more to do with Miami than it's going to have to do with Joe being out there.
Robert was talking to us yesterday about the amount of cover zero that the Dolphins like to run. I know with cover zero, pretty much the only way to get teams to stop running it is to beat it. So how important is it for you to kind of strike early and kind of get past that cover zero early?
Yeah, totally. It's if you show, whether it be in previous film or on that day on Sunday, that you can't beat cover zero, then they're going to keep on bringing it. The defense coordinator is going to keep on calling it, and the players are going to feel very confident on how to stop it. And one thing that's been really unique and really honestly to be cool to watch with Miami is playing them last year. They brought a lot of cover zero, and they had a lot of success, and I think they had a lot of expectations coming into this year. It didn't go necessarily, I'm guessing, the way that they wanted to start this year, but these last 3 weeks, I feel like they've gotten back to their roots. They played Buffalo so tough, they had 20 snaps of cover zero versus Buffalo. It was 3-3 late in the third quarter over in Buffalo. The next week, obviously, they held their opponent to under 10 points, and then we all saw what they did to Baltimore, bringing, I don't even know what the number was, but it was somewhere up in the 30s. So they're going to bring it, and until you show that you can stop it or have success against it. But again, they do such a good job that they have their zones, they got their man stuff. They're going to try to come at the line and challenges. So they got a good mix of everything. But you definitely have to have an answer for the zero.
Against a defense that's bringing it that often, how much does Joe's experience help?
It's huge. And it's besides going against Miami last year, my time with Kyle, in the NFL, I've never seen so much zero in one game, and I wouldn't even say they brought it too much against us last year. It got kind of a little bit out of hand. They got after us a little bit over there in San Francisco, and so then they really started bringing it there in the second half, and then again when you pop on the tape from the last 3 weeks. So just Joe being through those situations before, whether it be 10 snaps to zero, I don't know how many he's ever seen in a game, but again what we've seen over these last 3 weeks, it's been a lot.
How have you guys done against cover zero this year, or something comparable to it?
The cover zero that we've seen has been it's been just kind of almost a change-up, or I don't want to say we kind of knew it was coming, but it was situationally like, hey, we had a pretty good idea. Miami, you're going to have a pretty good idea because that's kind of what they do, right? So you just got to be prepared. But they know that that the zero's coming, and you better have an answer for it. So I couldn't give you the numbers off my head. I'm sure if DJ were here, he would probably be popping it off right now. But I can think back to Cincinnati when Mike hit the touchdown to Braxton right before half. That was a cover zero. He hit versus Cincinnati. They brought a zero, and we hit the back in the flat on 3rd and 11. But all zeros are a little bit different. There's a zero where teams want to kind of hide it so you don't know, and then all of a sudden it shocks you and it comes on you, and then there's a zero it looks like pump block, and you better get the ball out of your hand because they're 7 or 8 up and they are coming, so there's 2 different zeros.
Is there any other team in the NFL that runs a defense similar to this?
Not that I'm aware of, unless someone's been changing this year, but not to this extent. But again, it's you go. I say the Buffalo game, they brought a lot of that zero. Then Houston, they backed off it a little bit. They put a little bit more just man-free, brought still their pressures, brought their 3 deep. So, I mean, they got a little bit of everything. It's just, whatever their flavor is for the week, it'll be interesting to see what they got for us, and then we'll go from there.
What is the risk? Because we're talking right now all about the positives of the cover zero, positive cover zero, but if it was like this unstoppable defense, everyone would run it, right? So how can you beat it? Like as an offense, where you're going into, where is the weakness?
Well, once you get past that, I mean, if you play against a zone defense, there's 3 lines to get past, right? You got the D line, the second level of the linebackers, maybe a safety, then you got obviously the secondary. When you go against a cover zero, you're 1 tackle away from a house call, and so I mean that's the problem with running cover zero. They have, I think, so much confidence in their secondary, their 2 corners, and really, honestly, probably their just ability to coach it. They're a very aggressive deal. Again, like I said, I saw it last year, and it was wild, But they're very effective at it, and again, I think they've gotten kind of back to their roots.
How have you seen Michael Carter's game evolve throughout his rookie year, and especially his ability to get into the end zone 4 touchdowns?
Yeah, just getting used to the speed each and every week. And even going back to the New England week. I mean, he had a good in week 2. He had a good week that week. Production wise, and it just seems like it's getting better. His balance is it's as you guys have seen. It's pretty incredible because he just doesn't go down usually from the first contact, and it's not because he's Jerome Bettis, people bouncing off him. He's just a slippery dude with great contact balance and a will and a want to. So he's a guy, and I'm sure you guys, as you gotten to know him, he's a dude you root for, and it's cool to watch the production he's having. I think there's a lot of good days ahead for him.
How encouraging is it that him, Elijah Moore, like in the first year of the system, these young guys are getting all this experience, and they're playing well now for you? How encouraging is it?
It's awesome. I mean, the draft is a crapshoot, and anyone that says that it's not, it's a crapshoot, and you can go across the league, and the good teams and the bad teams, they've had their big hits and they've had their big misses. You guys drafted Kittle. Now we drafted Kittle in the 5th round, so we skipped on him 4 rounds, and just like everyone else in the league, and those kind of things happen. So, but to answer your question, I mean, obviously, AVT, we went up for him. We felt very, very good about him. Credit to Joe D and his staff. I mean, Joe D pinpointed it right away, and when he said he was going up to get a guard after I didn't know Elijah that well, I was like, a guard? And then now I get exactly why he did it, because I mean he was spot on with it. He's the right culture piece and player for it. And then same thing with Elijah, just where we took him and the production he's been having over the last few weeks. And I think, I mean, all 3 of them obviously, but for Elijah, there's still a lot more out there for him.
Robert said that Mike was pretty disappointed when he got the news. How have you handled that? Have you talked to him? How have you?
Yeah, totally. I talked to him that night, and as a coach of his, as a friend, you want to see guys battle through the adversity, and we didn't play well. And Mike's a type of competitor, when you don't play well as an offense, he's going to put it on himself, regardless of whatever else happened. There's so many variables when you don't play very well in terms of an offense. And so you want to see him come back and bounce back. And obviously we made a decision as a staff and as an organization that we're standing by to go with Joe. But that's what I felt for the most. He'd taken some heat for how that game went, but again, it takes all 11. I could go right down the list of why we didn't play well as an offense, starting with me. I was very confident going against this defense, albeit the number 1 defense in football, and we didn't get the job done, and I didn't get the job done getting these guys in a position to be successful. And when you start 1st and 20, 3 out of the 4 drives, and then obviously the 4th and 1 where we had the delay that I take full responsibility for, there were so many factors, and as a quarterback, when the good is good, you're crowned, the best. When the bad's bad, it's always the next guy, So, and that's part of the position, and that's why they love playing that position.
Since you brought it up, on a delay, what happened?
You know, just I'll be 100% honest with you. Salah, it got down to about 7 seconds. We had a tight formation, so no one was getting outside the numbers, and we're going to have a quick motion. And he asked, he goes, "Hey, do I need to burn one right here?" And I confidently, I thought I saw Mike look right at the play clock, put his head up there. I said, "No, we're good." And, you know, and I knew what the play clock was too, and I thought for the life of me we were good, and I was wrong, you know. So obviously that was an absolute killer in terms of just the momentum and having a chance to get points again against a team that it's hard getting yards in this league, and it's really hard getting yards against that defense and what they do schematically and their players. So that's what happened. Again, like I said, Salah, you know, said, should I burn one at that moment? I probably should have just said yeah, but again, I was confident that we were actually really good. I thought we were fine. So